Hello there. Today I wanted to talk about an Iden Blue deck that I've been having a ton of fun with. It's super strong into Boba Fett, it's super strong into Sabine, and we'll talk about why. This is the deck, and we'll talk through quite a few of these cards, but you can see that we're not paying for anything out of aspect here. Everything is blue or double blue. And there are a few cards that we're taking advantage of having the blue base for. We've got Vigilance and Bendu in the deck. And let's jump into a little bit about why it works. First off, Iden is an amazing leader. She gets you value the whole game, right? So the first turn, she's probably not getting you anything because you're not killing anything. But literally every other turn thereafter, you've got so much removal in the deck that whether she's on her leader side or her unit side, she's probably getting you some heals. And so that really adds up over the course of the game to keep you alive. Combine that with a 30 health base, and you've got a lot for your opponent to chew through. And it gets even worse when you start tossing in cards like this. In this deck, we have a ton of healing aside from Iden. We've got 3 copies of Vigilance and Cargo Juggernaut and Make an Opening. Make an Opening sometimes I'll sideboard out, depending on the matchup. It's really good against Boba Fett, and the way that this deck is built, without the sideboard options in, it's kind of built to take down Boba. And Make an Opening in that matchup is basically kill a guy and heal 2, because he has so many 2 health units in the deck. He's got Greedo, he's got the 7th Fleet Defender, and the Crafty Smuggler. So you can kill 9 of his units and heal 2 damage from your base. In the same way, Vigilance is basically kill a guy and heal 6 from your base, right? Because and in the same way, Make an Opening, right? Because of Iden's ability, it lets you heal an extra one. So Vigilance lets you heal from your base normally, but then it can also defeat a unit with 3 or less hit points, and then you stack that with Iden. It's kill a guy and heal 6. Cargo Juggernauts, I think a pretty underrated card. It has an immediate impact when it comes in by healing your base, and it's a pretty durable body that can last and take out a couple units. So just between those cards and Iden, it is not unheard of to heal 20 damage with this deck, which is hilarious when your opponent keeps hitting your base and you just kind of shrug it off. And it gets even worse when you start tossing in all these Sentinels. So we've got simple cards like Cell Block Guard and System Patrol Craft. We also have some that you might not have played very much, like Chilled Sin and Bendu. And those cards are great. Bendu as a 4/7 is phenomenal. If your opponent has Saboteur, then obviously these cards drop in value and you could start sideboarding in other cards. But adding 7 health to your base effectively with Bendu is not to be scoffed at. And it's actually an okay play, depending on the matchup, to just kind of pass the first couple turns and then drop Chilled Sin as a 6/6 Sentinel. And that's a lot to chew through. And then you'll have a card advantage. You'll probably be a little bit behind on damage, but you'll have so many options to heal it off. So it's just a slog for your opponent to try to get through all of this. I will say that, turn 1, you only have 9 plays. Sometimes that's a little light. And none of them feel particularly powerful. The Viper Probe is basically just trying to trade into something your opponent has. Inferno 4 can be helpful to filter, but oftentimes it's not quite as strong early in the game where you kind of know what you want. And then Regional Governor can create some amazing turns. If you have initiative and name their 2-drop that they wanted to play. But in general, it's not the strongest, right? So typically, you are coming back with this deck. A lot of times it is okay to just skip turn 1 and play either a Death Trooper or a Power of the Dark Side to just keep them playing units rather than attacking your base. Avenger is kind of your win condition here, and I think that's worth noting because so much of your deck is removal that you're not dealing a whole lot of damage to your opponent's base until late in the game. And so the AT-AT suppressor can be a good option, but I'm really hesitant to resource Avenger unless I've seen a second one. Even if it's in my opening hand, I'm sometimes willing to hang on to it the whole game just because it's how I'm planning on winning. And if we look back at the whole deck again, everything in here is designed for a purpose. Most cards are getting you value in more than one way. So if you think about cards like Count Dooku, that basically kills a guy and provides a pretty big body, right? That's phenomenal in this deck. It's basically kill a guy, heal one, and have a 5 power shielded unit. AT-AT suppressor, exhaust other guys and put a big body on the table. So it's really built to slow your opponent down. I'll talk to a few more cards here. You can see I have Vanquish as a 3 of and Takedown only as a 1 of in the main deck. That's really to deal with Fire Spray. Fire Spray is a lousy option. We don't really want to run into it. And Vanquish is phenomenal against Fire Spray. And we also have so many options to deal with the units with low health, like Make an Opening and Vigilance, that Takedown just doesn't perform quite as well in the deck. And so I think that's a good option. You also see a couple copies of Entrenched. Every once in a while, you run into a problem that you can't remove. It is rare because there's so much removal in the deck. But that's really what Entrenched is for. It's mainly to play on your opponent's units, like a Fire Spray, or even their leader, if you're having trouble dealing with their leader. And then you can just kind of lane dodge, get Avenger out and win the game while their leader sits and does nothing. Super Laser Blast is not always needed, but can be really useful in a pinch. And then you'll also notice only one of Gideon has. I think Gideon's amazing with Energy Conversion Lab. In this deck, because he needs a turn to warm up, he's not quite as good. So I prefer more of those Sentinels, more of that healing. So it's a super fun deck. I've been playing a ton of it, and it has some amazing matchups against those faster aggro and control decks, and I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. Also, I'll just mention that I'm trying something totally new today with the format of this deck tech. So if you prefer this, where you've kind of got the whole deck on the screen as opposed to looking at real cards, I'd be curious to know if you prefer that or if you prefer the way I have been doing it. Take care.